The role of black soldiers in the American Civil War is a profound and often underappreciated chapter in the nation's history. Their participation not only shifted the course of the war but also redefined the meaning of freedom, citizenship, and equality in the United States. The first black unit formed by the Union, the 54th Massachusetts Infantry Regiment, stands as a testament to the courage, resilience, and determination of African Americans who fought not only for the preservation of the Union but also for the abolition of slavery and the recognition of their humanity. This essay delves into the formation, performance, and legacy of the 54th Massachusetts, as well as the broader contributions of black soldiers during the Civil War, exploring how their service became a pivotal force in the struggle for emancipation and civil rights. Now, before we move on with the story, please help a small channel grow. Like and subscribe. It means a lot to me. Okay, back to the story. The context: slavery, war, and the road to emancipation. When the Civil War erupted in 1861, the institution of slavery was deeply entrenched in the southern states, and the question of whether black men, enslaved or free, would be allowed to fight in the war was fraught with controversy. Initially, the Union was reluctant to enlist black soldiers, fearing backlash from northern whites and border states that still permitted slavery. President Abraham Lincoln and his administration were cautious, prioritizing the preservation of the Union over the abolition of slavery. However, as the war dragged on and the Union faced mounting casualties and manpower shortages, the idea of recruiting black soldiers gained traction. The Emancipation Proclamation, issued on January 1, 1863, marked a turning point. While it did not immediately free all enslaved people, it declared that all individuals held as slaves in Confederate states shall be thenceforward, and forever free. Crucially, it also authorized the enlistment of black soldiers into the Union Army. This decision was both pragmatic and symbolic. It provided the Union with a new source of manpower while aligning the war effort with the broader struggle for freedom and equality. The formation of the 54th Massachusetts Infantry Regiment. The 54th Massachusetts Infantry Regiment was the first officially recognized black unit formed in the North. Its creation was spearheaded by abolitionists and progressive leaders, including Massachusetts Governor John A. Andrew, who was a staunch advocate for black enlistment. Andrew recognized that the participation of black soldiers would not only bolster the Union's military strength but also challenge prevailing racial prejudices and demonstrate the capabilities of African Americans. Recruitment for the 54th began in February 1863, targeting free black men from across the North and even some from Canada. Prominent abolitionists such as Frederick Douglass played a key role in encouraging enlistment, framing military service as both a duty and an opportunity to prove the worth and dignity of black Americans. Douglass famously declared, "Once let the black man get upon his person the brass letters, U.S., let him get an eagle on his button, and a musket on his shoulder and bullets in his pocket, and there is no power on earth which can deny that he has earned the right to citizenship." The regiment was composed of approximately 1,000 men, including both enlisted soldiers and white officers. Colonel Robert Gould Shaw, a young white abolitionist from a prominent Boston family, was chosen to lead the 54th. Shaw's commitment to the cause and his willingness to command a black regiment were seen as a powerful statement of solidarity. The performance of the 54th Massachusetts quickly proved its mettle on the battlefield, dispelling doubts about the combat readiness and discipline of black soldiers. One of its most famous and defining moments came during the assault on Fort Wagner, a Confederate stronghold on Morris Island, South Carolina, on July 18, 1863. Fort Wagner was a heavily fortified position, and the Union command viewed its capture as critical to gaining control of Charleston Harbor. The 54th was chosen to lead the charge, a decision that underscored both the regiment's growing reputation and the high stakes of the mission. As the soldiers advanced under heavy fire, they displayed remarkable bravery and determination. Despite suffering devastating casualties, they managed to breach the fort's walls before being forced to retreat. The assault on Fort Wagner was a tactical failure, but it was a moral and symbolic victory. The 54th's valor shattered stereotypes about black soldiers and garnered widespread admiration. Colonel Shaw was killed during the attack, and his death, along with the sacrifices of his men, became a rallying cry for the Union cause. The regiment's performance also inspired further recruitment of black soldiers, with nearly 200,000 African Americans eventually serving in the Union Army and Navy. The broader role of black soldiers in the Civil War. The 54th Massachusetts was just one of many black units that contributed to the Union's victory. By the end of the war, black soldiers comprised roughly 10% of the Union Army, and their impact extended far beyond the battlefield. They played a crucial role in securing key victories, such as the Battle of Milliken's Bend and the Siege of Petersburg, and their service helped to undermine the Confederacy's economic and military infrastructure by disrupting slavery and encouraging enslaved people to flee to Union lines. However, the experience of black soldiers was marked by both triumph and hardship. They faced pervasive racism within the Union Army, often receiving inferior equipment, inadequate medical care, and lower pay than their white counterparts. Despite these challenges, they demonstrated unwavering resolve and a deep commitment to the cause of freedom. Black soldiers also confronted the grim reality of Confederate retaliation. The Confederate government refused to recognize them as legitimate combatants, and many were subjected to brutal treatment if captured. The infamous Fort Pillow Massacre of 1864, in which Confederate forces slaughtered hundreds of black soldiers who had surrendered, underscored the dangers they faced. The legacy of black soldiers in the Civil War. The contributions of black soldiers during the Civil War had far-reaching implications for the nation's future. Their service helped to secure Union victory and hasten the end of slavery, paving the way for the ratification of the 13th Amendment in 1865. Moreover, their bravery and sacrifice challenged prevailing notions of racial inferiority and laid the groundwork for the eventual recognition of African Americans as full citizens. The legacy of the 54th Massachusetts and other black units also resonated in the decades that followed. Their struggle for equality and justice continued during Reconstruction and beyond, inspiring future generations of activists and leaders in the fight for civil rights. The story of the 54th was immortalized in art, literature, and film, most notably in the 1989 movie Glory, which brought their heroism to a wider audience. Conclusion: the role of black soldiers in the Civil War, epitomized by the 54th Massachusetts Infantry Regiment, represents a pivotal moment in American history. Their courage and determination not only helped to preserve the Union and abolish slavery, but also redefined the meaning of freedom and citizenship in the United States. Despite facing immense challenges and injustices, they proved that the fight for equality was inseparable from the fight for the nation's soul. The legacy of their service continues to inspire and remind us of the enduring power of resilience and hope in the face of adversity. Thank you for watching my video. Please like and subscribe.